Recently, Stephen A. Smith, a noted sports columnist and raconteur, if you want to call him that, came down and had a definitive speech about what he thinks about Caitlin Clark. And frankly, he told the truth. Because there's a lot of haters of Caitlin Clark for a lot of reasons. One, well, they don't think she belongs in the WNBA. And two, well, they just don't like the fact that she's better than anybody else. But she is. And whether anybody likes it or not, Caitlin Clark is becoming a brand. And I mean a serious brand. And when she returns to the WNBA, if they have a season next year, she is going to be worth more than the entire league itself, simply because she's that phenom that you see once in a while that comes along every so often, but is bigger than you could possibly imagine. Now, did you happen to see the new TV commercial that came out on Christmas for the NBA games and the NFL games? Featured Caitlin Clark in a number of different, locations, if you will. One of the ones started out in a neighborhood, and she was out there hitting shots on a driveway. And the girl says, "Hey, can you hit it from here?" And she did. What you have to understand is when she was a kid, she actually pleaded with her father to tear up grass in their front yard so she could have a longer distance range to shoot. She said, I got to be able to shoot farther than 30 feet. And she pleaded with her dad, put in more concrete, tear out the lawn. I need a lot farther distance to be able to shoot. Because she saw a WNBA game, I think it was a Minnesota game, and she came back and then she said, man, I got to shoot farther than that. So basically she developed her game, not an inside game, not a mid-range game, not a layup game. She developed a long distance game. Not only that, a logo game. She'd shoot from the logos. And that's what she did. And she would be outside shooting as a kid until her hands went numb. Her parents will tell you that. So she went to college, became a phenom, right? Major scores, just broke every record you think of at Iowa. Came into the NBA, and she was snubbed to go on to the Olympic team because they said, well, she doesn't have enough time, she doesn't have the experience, she doesn't have the, whatever it was they wanted. Not a good plan because when the Olympics played, the gyms were half full. Nobody wanted to see what was going on. Nobody cared. That may be changing very soon because they are now getting things set up for the USA team that ultimately will go to the Olympics. And it appears that Caitlin Clark will be the one who's going to be leading the charge with a whole new style of basketball. Fast-paced, moving, passing. That's what she's good at. That's what she knows she can do, and shooting the long-range stuff, that's what she's good at. Because remember, when she shoots, there's step-back shots. Long distance, she doesn't move in. Now, when she passes, she sees the court probably better than a lot of other WNBA. Years ago in the late 60s, his name was Nate Archibald. They called him Tiny. Tiny went to Texas Western College. I know because I went to college with him. And he could pass the ball better than anybody ever seen. And taking pictures of him down the court at the games, you just never knew where that ball was going to go. Well, Nate did that in the pros as well. So he's got the style. Caitlin has the style of a Nate Archibald, passing the ball. She knows how to do it. You never know where it's going to go. But she does have players who know when it's coming to her. Now, that's how good she is. So Nike runs this commercial, and it's got little nuggets in it here and there, little marshmallows for you to kind of take a look at. Ooh, look at that. Look where she's shooting. And then she talked about people. Michael Chi, remember him from Saturday Night Live? Uh-huh. And then how about Travis Scott, the rapper? And then, of course, who doesn't know Travis Kelce? I mean, he and Taylor Swift, that's all everybody talks about in the NFL. So she goes to the NFL is now saying, yeah, if Travis Kelce talks about her, she's part of the NFL. That's a different organization, different group of people. You go to Travis Scott, you go to the rappers. So the rappers are saying, hey, you're part of us. You're part of our group. And Michael Chi, comedian, stand-up guy, you're going to all the new audiences, not just people who love the WNBA, not just people into basketball. Now you're going into people in football You're going into the people in comedy. You're going into people in rapping. You're covering all the areas. And now they're saying, well, here we got that nugget that Nike put out. Now everybody says, well, she's only making $28 million a year. That was her deal. That was the appetizer, folks. That was just the appetizer. Because remember when they put all those shirts on every seat in the Bainbridge Fieldhouse? Everybody got a Caitlin Clark, the CC shirt, the logo shirt, the brand. And in that commercial, you saw her wearing the hoodie, the whole thing, CC on it. That is the brand. You know, Michael Jordan, he has a brand, right? I want to show you something. Michael Jordan is now flying a new airplane, a new private airplane, it's a 650ER. And trust me, this thing from Grumman, the 650ER, cost $70 million. But look what's on the tail of Michael's plane. Not the Chicago Bulls on there, it's the jumping man. And that's what you notice. Caitlin Clark is going to be a phenom like nothing you have ever seen. And if she pulls off $150 million of shoes, that's the reason that Nike has waited so long, because they're having to make a whole lot more shoes than they do for anybody normally. A lot more shoes. Because they believe the moment it breaks, it's going to sell out like nothing they've ever seen, and she will become a bigger brand than anybody in sports has ever done. 150 million? Pretty serious stuff. Now, here's the last thing to talk about. There is a very strong rumor that Nike has purchased 90 seconds of time in the upcoming Super Bowl. Now, I don't know if it means a 90-second spot, means 3 30-second spots. I don't know. But if it in fact is true, and Nike is spending that kind of money for 90 seconds, they're getting ready to announce something big, and I mean really big. Could it be the shoe? Could very well be. If it is going to be a monster situation. So I'm just letting you know what's going on. Yep, Caitlin Clark has her haters out there, but it doesn't really matter. Because now, she's not becoming just a basketball player. Caitlin Clark is becoming a brand. And that brand is going to rival the jumping man from none other than Michael Jordan, who is currently her coach in the world of Nike. And now you know.